Hey everyone, so this week we focused on a lot of energy conservation and efficiency. So one efficiency that really surprised me was how high electric motor efficiency is at 98%. I kind of knew they were efficient, but I didn't know that they were almost perfectly efficient. And when you compare that to like engines or power plants, um, they can get around like 30 to 40%, which makes electric motors really stand out. And it shows how efficient a system can be when it's really just designed to do one specific task. And then on the other side, something that really surprised me as being really low was swimming at the surface, which is only about 2%. And I know swimming like feels exhausting, so I assumed it was just like the energy going into moving forward, but it really was like most of the energy is lost due to water resistance and turbulence and the heat from our bodies and stuff like that. And so that made me realize that just because something feels hard doesn't mean it's efficient. Um, and so, like human activities in general, like swimming and shoveling or weightlifting or something like that, are pretty inefficient because the body isn't built to be a machine. If it was, we'd have second class levers all over our body. But our muscles give off a lot of heat and we lose energy while maintaining balance, while moving, anything like that. And our bodies are always just using energy to stay alive. And so, from an evolutionary perspective, we're designed for survival and to be flexible wherever we go and not for mechanical efficiency. Um, and so, this difference really becomes clear when you compare like engines. Like internal combustion engines are only about 30% efficient. I mean, most of the energy is being burned off as fuel, and it's lost as heat through the exhaust, and then friction, and then cooling systems of AC and stuff like that. And electric motors, on the other hand, don't rely on that combustion, which makes them way more efficient, and that's why electric vehicles are becoming more common. And then the solar cell example is really interesting, as they're only 10% efficient, which means only a small portion of the sunlight actually becomes electricity. But plants are even less efficient, using only converting like 1 to 2%, I think is what it said, of sunlight into energy. But despite that, solar energy is still important because sunlight is renewable and always abundant, and it's free. And so even with a low efficiency, it can still provide a lot of usable energy without the pollution. And then finally, the Christian traditions talk about stewardship, and that how humans are really responsible for caring for the resources God has given us. And I think that definitely applies to how we use energy, and that the choices we make may affect future generations or the environment or something like that. So being mindful about how we use energy is just being a part of being responsible stewards in everyday life and towards God's creation.